thank you guys again very much for coming to my quick presentation. This shouldn't be much longer than 10 or 15 minutes. I usually have very elaborate presentation prepared, but this morning I wasn't sure whether or not I was going to present this and decided since Koala was sponsoring, I should. So my name is Jordan Rayner. I'm the president of Direct Media Strategies here in Tampa. Like I said before, we consult with political candidates, corporations, and nonprofits on how to use the internet, and more specifically social media, to accomplish whatever those organizations' goals are. So for a political candidate, it's to get elected. For a corporation, it's to sell product and to handle customer service claims. For nonprofits, it's to raise awareness and tell that nonprofit's story in a digital world in order to raise money. So we do a lot of different work. We work with a lot of groups here in Tampa. Buddy Brew, who sponsored the coffee, is actually a client of ours. We have a couple of local clients. We're in the background about to sign a deal, hopefully, with Visit Tampa Bay and USF Athletics. We do work with some companies internationally. We work with a Bluetooth headset company out of Australia named Blue Ant Wireless. They make Bluetooth headsets. We are contracted by Google through the election, which I'll explain here in a minute. But that's just an idea of kind of what we do, who we work with. In terms of political candidates, we do work with a few here in the area. Hillsborough County Commissioner Mark Sharp is a client of ours who's up for re-election this year. We're working with a gentleman who's running for governor in Georgia. So a lot of different things. But today, what I want to talk about is how do we use location-based social media to get out the vote. And you'll notice I don't say how do we use location-based media to get politicians elected. My background's in politics, so for the past 5 years, I've really been working with political candidates almost exclusively on what my firm offers now, is consulting with them on how to use the internet to raise money, to raise awareness, to in terms of online advertising and targeting voters online. And as I know this is going to be hard to imagine, but at some point you get fed up with the politics of political campaigns, and you start to ask yourself, okay, great. So, you guys, I understand you're interested in using the internet to get elected, but how about using the internet and specifically social media, which is what they're all interested in right now, to do something better maybe than get you elected? How about getting out the vote? How about transforming government? On my blog, my personal blog, I believe it's on my personal blog, which is just jordanrayner.com. I'll hand some cards at the end. I have an extensive presentation on how can we use the internet and technology to change government instead of simply get people elected. Because at the end of the day, our government has to work for us. So anyways, I got to thinking about location-based social media primarily because some of our political clients were coming to us and saying, hey, how do we use this? Like every politician, as soon as they want to know how the next trend in social media can help them get elected, can help promote them. And I'll be honest with you, and I know the Koala guys will disagree with me because they've rolled out this platform of political options for political candidates. I've yet to find a really great way to use location-based social media for one specific political candidate. Now on a nationwide level, I see it, I can see it 2 years from now, we're gonna see a presidential candidate that has a location-based app that you can check into their headquarters, you can do certain things almost like scavenger, you can earn rewards and then you kind of work your way up and you get different prizes. So the Obama campaign had something similar to this in 2008 when they would have their volunteers through mybarackobama.com do things, accumulate points, and then you would win dinner with Barack Obama or something along those lines. I see the future of this in 2 years from now, 2012, for this cycle to be location-based. So, okay, I am actually physically at headquarters, and I can't lie about that unless you're on Foursquare. But you get what I'm saying. So I started thinking about it, and I really couldn't come up with a great application for political candidates. But then I got to thinking, I'm like, wait a second. This is a phenomenal get out the vote tool if we can do it right. So one day on Twitter, as many of my projects start, they start with tweets, and I simply posted, it would be really, really cool if Foursquare would develop an I voted badge for election day. So similar to the I voted sticker that you get when you go into a physical polling place location and you leave with your I voted sticker, how about a sticker, a badge that you spread virally through your social graph? That'd be really neat. It'd be a really great get out the vote tool. So now I'm posting my Facebook friends. So in the past, when you had your I voted sticker, the only people who saw that were the people in your workplace, usually, because you wear it for one day, you walk into your office, and the 15 people who are there see that you voted. But what if you posted this to the average 130 Facebook friends that people have, right? And what if you posted this to your average 120 Twitter followers? You're telling these people, hey, I voted. Did you forget it's election day? Here's my polling place location. Click here to find yours, whatever. So, started as a tweet. I very quickly realized as I was getting a massive amount of retweets, I needed to turn this thing into a Accolade petition. I don't know if you guys have used the service Accolade, but it's fantastic. You can start petitions via Twitter, and it keeps track of how many people have signed it by retweeting you. It keeps track of how many people have viewed it. So we started an Accolade petition to petition Foursquare to create an I voted badge for election day. And today, I think it has about 560 signatures. It's almost reached 1 million people on Twitter. And it took off really, really fast. So eventually it did get the eye of Foursquare. Foursquare reached out to me behind the scenes and said, okay, love this idea, great idea, but how in the world are we going to validate 18,000 polling place locations across the United States for one day? It's just not working for us. So we're also contracted by Google. I mentioned that a couple of minutes ago, for a project called the Voting Information Project. So we are working with secretaries of states all across the country to publish their location, not voter information, nothing personally identifiable, but to publish their list of polling place locations in a uniform format. So we're trying to get them to publish all of their polling place locations via XML so that Google and other third parties can take the data and make third-party apps for it. So we're working to get all this data for Google, and it's really interesting because Google and Foursquare have come to the table for this I voted badge project, which is really interesting to see how they're playing nice together. I think those are two companies that I didn't really expect to play nice together, but they are. And so behind the scenes, we're working on it, and it looks like it's going to become a reality, hopefully for this November. So someday you're going to walk into your office with your I voted sticker, and your friends in your office are already going to have seen it because you posted that you've got an I voted badge on Facebook and on Twitter. So it's a really interesting concept. We got a lot of media partners behind the scenes. You can imagine how interested CNN and Fox News and all of these outlets are in this project because the data visualization potential is huge. So, on election day, politicos are, going crazy because they can't get results. They have no idea what's going on. They just sit in their offices and bang their heads on their desk waiting for election results. So now we can give them something to look at, right? So CNN all throughout the day can say, look, this is a predominantly, let's say there's an African American candidate running, and obviously high African American turnout is very critical. We can say this precinct is predominantly African American. Look at all these Foursquare check-ins of all these people getting these I voted badges within that area. So we're really excited about it. I really just wanted to come and share that and kind of plant that seed in your head because this is a group of really talented, really smart people that you guys can take this idea, I'm sure, and make it a lot better. But I'm interested to see it come to fruition. If you want to sign the petition, it's act.ly/23B. That's the permalink for the Accolade petition. So that's it. Again, love for you all to come out to the social network event we're hosting next week. Come hang out, have coffee, talk about the movie. I'd love to meet all you all. I was telling Michael lived in San Francisco. You've been here 2 years now?
3 or 4.
Okay, so 3 or 4. Michael was out in San Francisco beforehand. I was telling him I was just out in San Francisco for a client, and it stinks because you're out in San Francisco and you're around people who do what we do, like all the time when you're in San Francisco. Like every bar you go to, every restaurant you go to, people are talking about this. It's tough to find that in Tampa, so when people are smarter than I can figure out how do we take this bar camp concept to a greater level where we're constantly connected with each other. So that's it. Thank you very much for listening. I'd be happy to answer a couple of questions if anybody has any. Yeah?
Why do you need Foursquare? Why not just do QR code on the system?
Yeah, good. Because
you can regionally duplicate that. Somebody walks by a location, particularly high traffic, holding this center.
Right.
You need to be logic. How long do they linger there?
Right.
And the question too is maybe writing that or maybe the booking.
Right.
Absentee. How do you get that?
Right. You don't. There's serious flaw. The biggest flaw I see with this is usership. So what does Foursquare have? 4 million users?
Oh, the QR
What
code
do
is
you do?
there, and you can actually scan it.
Right.
But no, it takes you straight to a
Yeah.
poll.
Sure.
And you start asking them, would you vote for
Sure.
the experience?
Yeah, we've thought about that too. That's a whole separate project, but we're actually doing a lot of work with QR codes right now. Mostly with our corporate clients. We're putting on some of their products, some of the Bluetooth headsets. But yeah, that's in the works as well. So, one more question, maybe? Yeah.
It's just a comment.
Sure.
That, the only problem I see with it is that the users actually come to the voting place actually have something.
Right.
It has to be wireless if you don't
Right.
have a phone, smartphone.
Mhm.
And then you're excluding a huge demographic
Mhm.
of people,
Mhm.
elderly people,
Yep.
kids
Yep.
that are hanging out with their phones. Maybe they're the QR code, maybe there's that QR codes. They're not
Right.
going to vote.
Exactly.
So it's a great
Yeah.
to look and say, okay, the people that do have iPhones
Yeah.
that are here,
Yeah.
you know, what are they?
Right.
How many of them? But
Right. Yeah, and I mean, admittedly, like the biggest flaw, we don't see it as a flaw though. Like it's not like people are going to get rid of my voting stickers. We're going to be wearing our voting stickers until the day we die. But this is just a value, right? So we're not taking anything away. We're just adding to the to the experience of voters who do have this technology. But I completely agree. There's a huge usership issue here. Yeah.
I mean, could it be used instead of individual voters, observers, poll observers, to in connection with something like Ushahidi?
Like what?
Ushahidi? Okay. Ushahidi is one of the open source packages
Sure.
that was used, I think, in the Kenyan elections.
Okay.
For people with SM to be able to report location-based
Right.
human rights violations with SMS codes.
Cool. I'd love to talk to you about that more.
I know nothing about it other than reports on World Technology Podcast. Okay?
Cool. Great.
But if you just, someone here is going to have, I don't have access,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
someone can Google Ushahidi
Sure.
and show
Okay.
you.
Cool.
yeah,
I'll check
I've
it out.
heard of it.
Well, thank you guys very much. Appreciate it.